More and more today, people are becoming more spiritual. They're looking more and more inside. We are in the Western world, especially, to a point where our physicality and our everyday mundane life have become so intense that most people start feeling a void. And so we see more and more people, Jewish, non-Jewish, from all walks of life, really trying to go deeper to find out, this ultimate question that we all have: why am I here? Do I matter? Do I affect the universe? What is my mission? Is there a God? What's the purpose of life? Those are really questions that everybody asks himself at different moments in their lives. And we are now at a moment where even nature, whatever happens in the world, all the events are pushing us to really confront those questions and giving us the last chance, in a way, to be part of the shift, of the higher level of consciousness. Now, one might think that, it requires a tremendous spiritual, awaken. Not necessarily. We see a lot of people trying drugs, psychedelic or Ayauaska, DMT. And I spend a lot of time, studying. I never did it myself, but researching what it is, what it does, how people react. And we see that all of them come to the same conclusion. We are all part of one big organism. Whatever we call God is that inner force, that life that exists in everything, that intelligent life that is aware and that makes everything work together as a symphony, in harmony. And we basically realize that we're, in a way, insignificant because we're just part of that huge life structure, life organism. But even though we're that one minute thing, we actually affect the entire structure. And therefore, we have a double game. We have the challenge of the ego, of I am aware, I matter, I can make a difference, and at the same time to realize that I only make a difference if I realize that I'm part of the whole. Otherwise, I'm disconnected from the whole. I'm only as important as I'm part of the whole. And therefore, I'm only me when you are you and we are united. Anybody who thinks he's great and doesn't see everybody else also as part of that greatness is really disconnect himself from everything and ends up to be nothing. So the first step, if we want to reach that shift, right? The Torah is, in a way, the most healthy ayahuasca we can have. People want to take drugs to go deeper within themselves. The Torah gives us the tools for that. We don't need drugs. We don't need, to take the plant medicine or the message that exists in nature. The message in nature are in the Torah, because the Torah is a blueprint of the world. This is what the nations will realize eventually when Moshiach is going to come. He's going to show that everything that we find in nature, in the world, in space, in the galaxies, all there is contained in the wisdom of the Torah, the matrix code for the entire universe. And even today, we have hundreds of thousands of Jews, but non-Jews, who are studying the Torah to try to understand really the universe and where is our place. So in a way, we're moving, we're shifting. The key is each one of us to need to do the proper work before the shift is so intense that people are going to disconnect themselves. They're going to lose their part of the whole. So this is really the work that we need to do. So what's the work, right? Everyone needs to, in a way, take a book, a notebook and write for themselves really, okay, what's my mission? And how do we go there? The first step is to understand that, to be humble, to understand that I'm only, right? This is the first step in Judaism. Who was the closest to God was Moshe Rabbeinu, because he was the most humble man. You want to have a direct connection with the universe, you want to understand the universe, you have to be humble. Why is that so important? Because the more humble you are, the more you allow the other perspectives, the perspective of God, to enter you. The more you become a vessel empty, to allow God to tell you, to realize, because this needs to go into your mind, your subconscious, your rational mind. God needs to download that in your head. It's not just the magic, my IQ, I'm going to figure it out like that. No, we need to understand that our brain is connected to our soul, and our soul sends messages. In order to have to be able to interpret those messages, those feelings, to understand, to have clarity. It's like all of a sudden, in your life, you learn something like, wow, I see the world completely differently. Why it happened at that moment? It's not just like eureka and like, a flash of vision. It's God's giving you those visions. God's is saying you did the work, the refinement necessary in your body or in your brain, in your heart, to be able to receive the clarity of who you are to be. He wants us to do the work. He wants us to reach there. He wants us to desire to answer those questions and to reach the answer. For our sake, God loves us. He wants us to feel love for ourselves. He wants us to feel that we're important. But first step is to understand that it's all beyond who we are. I am just a vessel. I need to accept that. And that's fine. It doesn't make me a nothing to be just a vessel. This is the struggle of humankind, who is fighting God and fighting with their ego, fighting the world, because I am something. But you are something even by being nothing. Because once you're nothing, you're part of everything, and therefore you are something. Anyway, this is a typical way of thinking that we need to constantly think of. But so the first step is humility. Understand that I'm open to understand anything, to understand the world. But what will we learn in the Torah? God created the world, and He created Adam and Eve. Well, first He created Adam. And Adam and Eve were one. It was the same thing. So what are we trying to reach? How do we get to understand what we're here for? First of all, I made a pamphlet for all those who want to find out how to find a mission. I made a pamphlet that I can send you through email. Just message me your email. I'll send it to you, or your WhatsApp. And you can start to do some of the work. There's some tools on how to do that. But if the Torah tells you the same thing as all the Ayauaska, ceremonies and all the spiritual things, we have to find out, okay, what am I afraid of? We need to really pass all our traumas, right? If we're not in a state of positivity and love, then we are limiting ourselves. We cannot expand who we are, and we cannot truly be happy. The first step really to expand and to become great and to find out what we're here for, well, is to first go to the root of all the things that blocks you in life. All the things that makes you uncomfortable. And obviously I'm not saying doing things uncomfortable that are destructive or not good, but make a list of all the things that makes you uncomfortable. Make a list of all the things that you have been hurt by, or the people you're being hurt from. Analyze all your trauma and work at those things. Basically, the first man had a trauma. The trauma of being a human being and being faced with God. And that trauma made us feel, it was a trauma of, I'm nothing, I'm a victim, I'm just a consequence, I'm just number two. And God was saying, no, you don't need to feel that way. You make yourself into that trauma. You take your ego to go against me when you could be in harmony with me, you can be one with me, right? So we need to, it's like a woman who say, no, is complaining that the man is the man and the man takes power and the man wants, is above the woman. We have been suffering from that since the beginning of time, and it's part of that ultimate trauma from between God and human beings. So we need to well, the first trauma is started with Adam, and society is still fighting that trauma, and we're fighting God so much. What's the problem if you think about it? What's the problem if there's a God or not? Right? Why are we fighting God? Okay, there's a God. Then it's beautiful. To say that there's no God does make your life better. Saying there's no God means there's no life force, means there's no harmony. It means that everything is random. All those thoughts don't bring peace to the heart. And yes, you might say it's an excuse, but it's not. Nature is at peace. Therefore, if you're not at peace in your heart and in your brain, that you're not one with nature, with the way the world works. You have to be in peace and harmony like nature. That's what Ayauaska and all those spiritual things is trying to teach you. There is an intelligent force going and running everything harmony. And we need to sense that. So fighting God, fighting that there's the spirituality or soul, all that, only ends up people feeling empty and doesn't bring them peace. Look at the world. Now, unfortunately, sometimes use religion and spirituality in the wrong way to fight the rest of the world because they want power. That's the ego becoming too strong also, and using God for their own ego. So that's wrong. The goal, obviously, is to create more peace and more love in the world. So we have to make sure we always have our ego in check. So then right after that, Adam and Eve, right? God created Adam and Eve to understand how to be one. Because since Adam didn't recognize he had that trauma with God of feeling I'm just a human being, God had to make Adam and Eve and split them in two to show them that you are one. Right? This flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. Why was so important? The essence of my essence. Because God was trying to teach him this is the same thing that happens between you and me. So, but Adam didn't understand that lesson yet, and he ate from the Etz Hadas. He kind of went to hide himself. And we know he hid himself from his wife 130 years. And he didn't confront the reality of the greatness of two parts of the whole, the male and the female, the man, the woman, God and humanity. So we are still suffering today from that trauma. So already from the beginning of time, right, we are traumatized, and we're trying to heal. That's why today is all about healing our soul, healing our body, healing from COVID, healing from trauma, for all those things. So we're in a healing process, but the way to heal that process is to understand the root of all those problems. The Torah pushing you, work on your character traits. Some people go to therapists and psychologists, and yes, they're needed doctors. We need all of them. They are like our rabbi says that we are allowed to use them. Or technically, we can use God directly. God is the ultimate healer. But we're allowed to use human beings just like we're allowed to use our spouse to learn to be one, so we can one with God. We're allowed to use doctors. So we're allowed to use medicine also. But we have to be careful to understand that this is just a tool. It's not the essence. We can do it on our own with us and God, with us and our soul. So we need to heal. And in order to heal, we need to heal our character traits. We need to be at peace inside us and love. And what comes up always at the end is to realize the preciousness of life, the gratefulness of being alive, the sensitivity to have and the empathy to have to all the people who actually truly love us, including ourselves. Having self-compassion, loving ourselves truly with all our mistakes, with all our problems, and being able to do that with everyone. In a way, it's as if to say, you want to start to know who you are, what your mission is. Your mission is to heal your traumas. Your mission is to see your greatness. Your mission is to expand the good you have in you, your love. And starting with your family, it's all start there. People want to do great things out of the world. Let's change the world. Yes, you can change the world, your whole organism, but only when you are healed inside. By healing inside, you're already changing the world. By healing your relationship, your family, start with the closest people to you. This is the first part of the mission. Try to fix. And if the people who cannot be, are not on the level, they're not ready to be one with you and to heal with you and to fix the relationship, then at least be at peace that you did your part and that the door is open for them to connect whenever they want to connect. Understand that they have their own traumas. In many ways, imagine that any person that you meet, you were told before, this is all the person's trauma. We will never get angry at that person. Right? It's almost I say, so you see someone who is angry and screaming at you, and you're told that person has cancer. Stage 4 cancer, right? God forbid. Are you going to get angry? Are you going to scream back at that person? Or is your heart going to break out of pity? Obviously, that person is in pain, is screaming, is suffering, and that's why it's reacting like that. We are all reacting badly, angry, sad, speaking bad about others, being jealous because we're hurt, because we're traumatized, and we're trying to heal, and we're trying to look for love, we're trying to find our own path to be at peace and in a balance with everything. But because we're not aware of that state of our being, because we think, yeah, I'm healed, I'm good, everything is good, like most men do, when husband and wife go to the therapist, the coach, because I'm a marriage coach, so I see that all the time. The woman says, oh, we have a lot of problems. The husband says, oh, everything's fine, no problem. That's the danger of the ego, of the male. We have to allow our female to come out in us, our female energy, which is speaking out my problems, speaking out my suffering, speaking out my trauma, speaking out. And now we have to be careful because we can fall into that pain and connect to that pain. We don't, one of the therapy types, I'm a social worker too. One of the way we learn about therapy and how to heal is to talk, to relate everything that happened and to go over what has happened. That's one way. However, nowadays, the many different great doctors say that you don't necessarily have to go in this direction. You can bypass that by traumatizing you in a positive way, by bringing tremendous amount of love and energy, by healing yourself and by giving yourself, like Dr. Joe Dispenza says, choosing the type of person that you are, envisioning it, like my Rebbe always says, envision yourself already healed. Bring the tremendous joy and happiness of what it is to be healed from your trauma. And that enables us to really transform and heal from the previous trauma so that you don't have to go over it and over it like a nightmare, right? It's like having a tremendous dream so happy that there's no even more room for the nightmare. So those are some thoughts about the fact that the Torah is our Ayauaska. The Torah is our healing medicine. It actually says that in the commentaries in the Talmud, that Torah Tavlin, that the Torah, we are sick, and the cure for our sickness, right, is the Torah. So interestingly, it says the Torah is a tree of life for those who hang on to it, and most medicine or substance that people take are all from plants. But the ultimate plant, the root of the garden, like in Avatar, the root of the garden, tree of life, who gives life to all the other plants, is the Torah. So the problem is that we don't always use the Torah properly. Let's remember that Rabbi Avraham Twersky says in one of his books, so beautiful, I forgot who he quotes, but Actually, I might have it here. We quotes. Let me check quickly if I can find it. Here. Yes, in his book Dear Than Life, he quotes Rabbi Yerucham Levovitz. It goes perfect with last week's parsha and this week's parsha, the giving of the Torah. Actually, says Torah and wisdom are not the remedy for objectional traits, but just the reverse. We refine our midos, our character traits. Only then do we acquire Torah, and this is the truth. If one is deserving, Torah becomes a life-sustaining medicine. See what it says, how beautiful. If one is not deserving, Torah can be a deadly poison. If someone uses the plants the wrong way, they'll die. One cannot begin to benefit from Torah unless one has made himself into a suitable receptacle to receive it. So the first step is like someone has to be open to take the medicine, right? And the first step to take the medicine is refining our character traits. And I have to want to work on myself, at least to have the desire and to start the first step. This is all the plant medicine, Ayauaska, all that are pushing us first. Like you need to be humble. You need to feel the love. You need to be nice. You need to recognize the value of life, being grateful. Then you will be able to expand and go great. Any medicine we take won't work if we're bitter inside, if we're angry inside, if we keep the trauma going. The trauma sometimes is from our parents, from my grandparents. We receive and we repeat the same cycle, and we need to break that cycle. Torah acquired while our midos are defective is useless at best and harmful at worst. Without mesiras nefesh for midos, meaning without doing the extra effort to transcend our comfort zone and really making everything that we change, we become better people, all our efforts at Torah may be in vain. And here it comes to what I was going to say. How can one do Naseh before Nishma? Do the right. It says Naseh v'Nishma. It was this week's Parsha Mishpatim. Naseh v'Nishma. Let's do and we will understand. Understand the Torah. Meaning we do the things before understand. It doesn't make sense. It makes sense out of law, but here it's Rabbi Levovitz. That gives a different understanding of what it means. Naseh refers to the activation of proper character traits, which the Talmud says we will have been obligated to implement even if the Torah had not been given to us. That's what Gemara Reuven says, because we will have found it in nature, in the Ayauaska, right? I can learn from nature technically how to become a better human being. I learn from nature how to be in harmony, how to work with others, how to love, how to balance the universe. And then I can understand what God really wants. Then I can understand the Torah. So this is so beautiful. So the Naseh means work on your character traits, v'nishma, and then you'll understand the Torah. That's the beautiful things Rabbi Yochanan Levovitz. So which means that this is the first step. The first step is to work on our character traits, to understand why we're bitter, what makes me angry, what makes me tick, what makes me sad, and not escaping it. So we have to make that list. What am I scared of? What are people who hurt me? Like I said before, because this is what you're going to learn about yourself. Make a biography. That's the first thing I say in my pamphlet. Make a biography to find out what's your life story. Right from when you're born, from when you're born, everything that happened to you in your that was significant and that really hurt you, or there was tremendous joy also, but mostly the thing that you were hurt by, the thing that made you angry, that made you very upset or bitter or run away or escape. All those things, usually from a lot of things is from the parents. It can be a divorce, it can be, not having parents, it can be our parents together, but they were fighting. It can be our siblings doing something to us. It can be a best friend, losing a friend. All those things, write them down. All those things that really shaped, or you have been abused. Or, there's a lot, all those things. And then you're given the package that you're given to heal. Your mission is to heal yourself. The mission of the world is to heal the world. Once you heal yourself and you understand this is my package to heal, then we become empowered. We all become doctors. We all become healers for the world. So this is our challenge, and this is what I believe we should work on. And that all those things, how to heal and how to deal with that, is taught in the Torah. That's what the Torah is for. So different people want to try different things to, these substances, and they can help. It can have a more powerful, but you can do the work on your own with the Torah, with a good rabbi or a rabbi who directs you. So may we all be able to heal, to understand why we do negative things, so we can be happy, so we can feel at peace, love, balance, and then after that we can expand and change the world, because we know how to heal everyone. But first we have to heal ourselves. And may that be the part of the shift to survive the end of days, to heal everyone around us, and have Moshiach. Moshiach is going to be the greatest doctor in the world. What's a rabbi? A Rofei Nefesh, a healer of the soul, says the Rambam. So now we understand what Judaism is really about. It's about to heal the world and make it a better place, like Mr. Jackson used to say. So may we all be able to heal the world, make it a better place, but starting with ourselves, with actual work. Write it down, work on yourself, dig deeper, understand yourself. And then all the Torah that you learn will be used in a way to heal yourself. You know what to do. It's all in there, all the information, we have it. So may we all be able to be successful in that. May God all help you, and all help me, and all help us, and do the work to bring Moshiach. Moshiach is waiting for us. We're not waiting for Moshiach. He's waiting for us to do our healing part, so that we can have credit to have worked to come closer to ourselves, to have to do the work of love for ourselves, work of love for God. And it starts right there at home, with yourself, with your family, and with your best friend. Have a beautiful